Our political insiders are back. John LeBoutelier, Pat Cadell, and Doug Schoen. What is the state of our union, Doug?
It is not good, Harris. We have the lowest workforce participation in a generation. We have, I think it's 6.5, 7 million additional people in poverty since 2008. We have a dispirited public. We have multiple international crises where we are on the defensive and our enemies are on the advance. Bottom line, Harris, a dispirited, defeated American people who, frankly, have more good than most of the politicians in Washington on their side.
I want to bring this off of Twitter. Susan O'Brien writes, "The insiders, please speak of what's good about America instead of denigrating those who love and cherish this nation." Hashtag Fox Report Weekend is why it got read.
No, we're not denigrating America. We love it. We're speaking in love of America. We're denigrating the people who have failed America, who don't love America, don't put the country first. They put their ambition and their own political designs.
You'd say both parties, wouldn't you?
In both parties, an entire political elite that has failed this country and has produced a disaster waiting to happen. We are, as you said, on the precipice of a cataclysm in this country, and the people know it. And let me tell you what is good. If we had leaders as good as the American people, and the American people were in charge of their country, we wouldn't be in this state. That's the most important good thing.
That's about the best thing we've ever heard on TV, what he just said. That you can't beat that. That's it.
And anybody who has any doubt that the American public knows what they want, what they don't want, and really has their thumb on the pulse of things, take a look at this poll. It really lays out the negatives, if you would, the headwind facing this president ahead of Tuesday night. And as we dissect what happened on this Sunday and look forward to what's happening Tuesday, let's in fact do what Pat says. Let's listen to the American people on this. This is what they say is the disapproval, and that's the number there in red that I want you to notice. The job rating that they give this president on income inequality, which is something he says he wants to talk a lot about. Well, he's not scoring well already. The economy, 59% disapprove. And that 66% was on the federal deficit, which is north of 17.3
make a
trillion.
point about the income inequality thing. In 2008, you remember the famous incident, the president, then Senator Obama, meets Joe the plumber. Joe the plumber says, well, I hear you're a socialist. And Senator Obama says, no. I just want to spread the wealth around a little bit.
Isn't that the definition?
Well, whether it is
Maybe
or not, what is happening, and it happens with liberals and with government all the time, they pick out a problem, income disparity, they address it, and guess what happens? They make it worse. They pick out health care. I want to solve the problem of people who are uninsured. And what ends up happening? More people are uninsured. They pick out poverty. They want to cure poverty. More people are living in poverty.
You know, Harris, in fairness, we have not gotten from the Republican leadership or the Republican base a set of pro-growth, free market approaches to the issue of growing the economy, creating jobs, and alleviating poverty. Because they're so into saying no and playing politics with President Obama that they don't put the country first. They put their political interests as they perceive it first.
The State of the Union is two countries. The one in Washington and the political class, and now they all talk about their definition of the issues, and the rest of the country that looks at the country as you said, Harris, about what the numbers were like, and Doug, and John, what you were saying about income inequality, making things worse, which is exactly what they do. The income inequality has worsened under Obama in the 5 years he's been president. You know why? Because all of it is about enriching your supporters and base. It is nothing about helping ordinary people.
And enriching yourself, Pat.
And enriching yourself. That is what we have. And these people are about enriching themselves and against the interests of the American people. And that is what's wrong here.
I see a lot of people, and they're saying they represent both sides of the political aisle on my Twitter page, saying that they agree with that they feel like their voices are not being heard, that they don't count in the conversation. But when you look at those negatives, people have a definite feel about what's not working. And so now I ask you this question. Are we making too much about one address?
Yeah.
Well, one address symbolizes the fact that we don't have a bipartisan plan to address the balanced budget. We have not had a bipartisan plan to create jobs or to fix the health care mess. Bottom line, the American people want leadership. They want new approaches. They don't want politics. So the speech is a perfect time, I believe, Harris, to point to all the challenges we face.
Reba says on Twitter, those self-centered politicians were not appointed by a king. The American people voted for this mess.
Let's understand something.
That's in all caps.
We have a system. Yes, they did. And we have a system that perpetuates only the same people who can run in either party. It's as I like to say.
Also, in the case of the president, he ran against a disastrous candidate in Mitt Romney who did not spell out the things we're trying to spell out here tonight.
He divided the country with the 47%.
Yeah, and what Doug talked about, which doesn't get talked about, the idea that the Republicans should be presenting an idea for how to grow the economy. Because with a growing economy, solves all the problems we're talking about.
Okay, I hear you.
It solves the deficit. It solves income inequality. It solves unemployment. What we have is an administration that's against the private sector, who thinks the private sector is second rate, okay? And they think government and spending in the government will solve problems.
Hold on one second, gentlemen, because we ran a little bit of John Fund, who was our guest from the National Review, talking earlier this weekend about the fact that the GOP is gearing up for the kind of fight that you're talking about for 2016, already looking beyond 2014, and looking at how Republicans will choose a candidate for the White House a little bit differently by shrinking the primary season and taking out those, 55,000 debates? I'm obviously exaggerating.
Which we did with you, Harris.
I know, we did some debates together. Doug, does that make a difference, and why?
Well, the Republicans believe that if they shrink the primary calendar, it'll allow consensus behind a nominee. Harris, candidly, that is a small issue, in my judgment. The larger issue is the Republicans developing a pro-growth, pro-America agenda that unites the country.
Or somebody.
That's more
But
important.
look, you have somebody. let me just say this. You have Mitt Romney doing his 47%.
Do you know something I don't about a third party?
I know what you're.
Oh, now that's interesting, because we've looked at that poll that says 46% of polled Americans said that they feel like we should have something other than what we have.
The highest number of independents.
Look, as long as our politics is the 47%, and then Obama getting up and saying rich people are evil and the conservatives are evil. Look, where is somebody who says to the country, we can do? We used to have leaders, and this speech you talk about, Harris, which we will not get. We will get pablum, which will, or a political agenda. Well, no one is saying, let's move this country and get this country going again.
And no one is disagreeing with that. I think that the point now that I'm seeing on Twitter is just how do we get there? So let's talk a little bit more. Can you sit tight?
Sure.
All right. Wow. We've got a lot of interaction. We want to bring people in. Stay close.